also read that you've transitioned from healthcare into, this beautiful, creative, social empire, with a baking background. Why the transition? How did you find that?
I think Michelle Lee pointed this out very nicely. She said, I went from burnout in healthcare to bake out in baking. I do feel I burned out a little bit in healthcare. I do love it still. I'll never regret becoming a doctor of physical therapy and, the hundreds and thousands of clients and patients that I've treated and people that I've worked with and students that I've taught. I've had maybe 10 different roles in the 13 years as a physical therapist.
Yeah.
But I think it was time for me to do some soul searching. I think in 2020 changed a lot of people's lives, right?
Yes.
There was COVID, and then I also lost my father, who worked all of his life in the financial sector, and I don't think he ever dreamed, I don't even know what his dream career was,
Right.
what brought him joy other than, watching baseball. I didn't know, right? So now I thought, life is so short, Sharon, should we do something that we wake up and we feel a little bit of dread? Or we could do something where we possibly can excel in and take that leap of faith and jump and go into the unknown, right?
Yes.
Where you can connect now, like for me, 300,000 people across all the social media, and then I could use this platform to raise awareness. I could, promote the world of Asian baking and help stop Asian hate on the other hand as well,
Of course.
And also do something that I also very love a lot, which is art, baking, and writing. It's something that my parents didn't really think would make a good career for me. So they pushed me towards healthcare all along.
Yeah.
But I always felt that I had a lot of ideas and creativity, but the outlet perhaps was not the best. And in all of my jobs, when I was able to build a program or build something with my own hands, that was where I shone the most, but I wasn't given that much opportunity to do that.
Yes.
But I think that's why I transitioned, to give myself a chance to see if I could use my passions and my dreams to do something.
Yeah, and I think your story transitioning from a classic career, I'm going to use classic in a inverted commas, I think a lot of our audience can relate because coming from an Asian background, it's that idea of choose a career that is stable, again in inverted commas, and it's that whole idea of medicine, law, or if not that, maybe optometry or dentistry. And it's like that Asian path, I suppose. So yeah, I think what you said about your father, and I'm really sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
What you said about your father and perhaps not even knowing what his dream career is, not having that opportunity to dream, that's something that I think a lot of Asians or a lot of our audience can relate to, whether you be a young millennial who's perhaps been pushed into a classic career and, striving and wanting to chase your passions. I think that's something you've done so successfully. So it should be very inspiring for other people out there that there is a career in something that you're interested in.
Absolutely.
Aside from the Facebook group and all the socials that you run, you also have a recipe book. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, since we're on video, I do have a... My husband took a picture.
I love that. I love
it's
that.
not the book yet. So this is for all of my promos. So this is a fun story. It's called Modern Asian Baking at Home. I like to tell people that it took me 13 years to publish this book. Because a long time ago, I wanted to write Asian rom-coms,
Wow.
young adult novels.
Yeah.
And I went to the point where I had an agent, a literary agent who was very interested in the book. And I was so happy. I was like, ooh, I'm going to be the next Meg Cabot or whoever, right?
Yes.
Dreams were dashed. I lost the contract. She got sick. And then I was also told by my writing mentor back then that, books with Asian characters don't sell. Back then it wasn't... Asian culture wasn't as profitable, they would say, right? We didn't have the Crazy Rich Asian movie out yet. We didn't have Shang-Chi. We didn't have, Bling Empire, all of that. So I basically, just forgot about my writing dreams, went on to becoming a physical therapist, self-published some books, sold 50,000 copies on my own. But then
amazing.
just e-copies.
Yeah, amazing.
Digital copies. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to be sustainable and, do something that's stable like my parents wanted, right? And then after Subtle Asian Baking happened, and then Eater featured us in an article in 2020. So thank you, Jessica Wei, for writing that article. It's amazing. That really launched everything for us, I have to say. Then an editor came out of nowhere, emailed Subtle Asian Baking and asked, "Are you guys working on a book?" Turns out he's legit. He's an acquisition editor of Quarto Books. And then, he was interested in like a recipe book from the Subtle Asian group, finding all of these trendy, amazing, traditional and modern recipes that we can put into a book. And I was like, I'm a writer, like deep inside, I'm a writer. I could do this, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was getting into. It became a full-time job, basically, while I was still working.
Yes.
So I wrote during ungodly hours, midnight, on all of the weekends. The deadlines were very tight.
Yeah.
You only have a few months to write a whole book, 68 recipes. Then you have to do all the recipe testing. And now I'm a full-time marketer for the book.
Yes.
Full-time content strategist, So it's quite an interesting journey. Like if anyone who wants to write a cookbook, be prepared. You're going to do a lot more marketing than you're going to be writing. So that's a little bit of an advice from me. But I'm very appreciative, and I'm so happy. It's going to come out June 28th. Very auspicious. 6/28, 2022.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
Look out for that. It's ready for pre-orders right now. All you have to do is Google Modern Asian Baking at home, or you could go to our website, modernasianbaking.com/pre-order, and then you could find all of the links where you could order it worldwide.
I love that. Well, I will put the website in the description. So for anyone who's really keen to get the cookbook and want to find out more, it'll all be in the episode notes.